So,
Yeah,
Mateo, how do you
Brandon.
pronounce your last name? Marasas?
Yeah, Marasas. Yeah,
Marasas. Mateo
yeah,
Marasas.
exactly.
BMX national champions.
Yes,
Lindsey Wilson College, 2022, correct?
2022. Yes,
2022. How does that feel?
felt great. Uh, it was really, really good because we weren't expecting it. We had a really good team, but we didn't have the numbers to try to fight for a national championship, or that was what we thought. So as a team, you can take 8 males and 8 females.
Mm-hmm.
All of them get points for the team. So all the other teams had 16 people in total, and we had 10. So
Mm-hmm.
5 males and five males and 5 females. So we were okay. Let's do our best, but we didn't think that we were going to get enough points to win. But luckily, all of us rode really, really well, and we could win it. It was a big surprise for us. Yeah.
Dude, I bet
So
that felt good. I
yeah,
mean,
that made it better.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's crazy because for the rest of your life now, you can say I'm a national champion because you
yeah,
are. Like you're a
I
national
am. I am.
champion. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it is
Like,
crazy.
and
Hmm.
so you should be super proud of yourself because and your team, of course. Like
Yes,
that's
yes, for
that's
sure.
that's super crazy. I mean,
Hmm.
besides you guys, Lindsay, I mean, volleyball and football are the only other two that have won team titles, I think,
Yes,
recently, you know. So that's super cool. Wrestling has never won a team title. I mean,
yes,
that's super wild, dude.
it is.
It, how did you feel about your own performance personally for that event, that whole day, you know?
Yeah. So individually, I finished third. So
Mhm,
bronze for me. It
mhm,
was really good. Uh, it's kind of hard because here we do a lot of cycling disciplines, at least me,
mhm,
and there are some other guys that are all year long focusing on BMX,
mhm,
and I didn't have that chance. I really, really, really practiced for BMX maybe for 2 months.
mhm,
So based on what I did, I felt really good. I did my best. Uh, I yeah, I left everything on the track,
mhm,
so I can't complain about that. I also know that if I could focus more on BMX and that uh, be the only thing that I'm doing, I could ride better.
mhm.
But yeah, I can't complain about with my performance. I felt really good racing. It was a good weekend in general for me. Yeah. The track suit me well, so yeah, I'm happy with the practice that I did, even though it was a short time. But yeah, I'm really happy.
Dude, yeah, that's really awesome. And I think we talked about this before, but for just cycling in general, you guys aren't considered a part of the NAI, right? It's its own thing.
No, yeah, it's we're regulated by USA Cycling,
Right.
and I mean it's not like NCAA and NAA, but for USA Cycling, our team is Division 1. So
Right.
yeah, that's yes, 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 yes. It's
That's
a
what I was thinking too,
mhm,
which is freaking crazy. So
yeah, it
you
is.
guys are good. Yeah, dude, third place is still pretty freaking good for
Hmm.
basically the Division 1
Yes.
qualifier our nationals
Hmm.
rather. That's super wild.
Yeah, and that makes all the regulations different.
Mhm,
Not being NAA or NCAA or JUCO, we are competing against a lot of professional athletes.
mhm,
You can compete in both circuits, the USA BMX Pro Series, and then compete for your college. So that's better in the sense that you have better riders and they make you improve. And at the same time, it's way harder, and you need
yeah.
to be in there all the time because if you make one mistakes, you know that you have super fast guys next to you, and they are going to take advantage of that.
Yeah, that is totally different because like for me, I just had to wrestle NAI wrestlers, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I didn't have to
Yes.
wrestle Division 1 wrestlers, you know.
Hmm.
Like I would not have won if I had to wrestle completely just Division 1, you know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
a different level.
No,
Um
it is.
and I didn't have to wrestle pros either. And that's another thing.
Yeah,
That's super crazy. So I'd say I think cycling might be like an underestimated sport because of how hard it actually is.
it is.
That's wild.
Maybe it's not that big because not many schools have cycling,
Mm-hmm.
but the one that have the programs, they have really good riders, really, really good riders.
Mm-hmm. And do you think
Yes.
the riders are usually um because we're gonna talk about you're from Argentina, like you're not from the U.S., which you're the
Yes,
first person on here not from the U.S. Of this, like the
foreign.
14th episode now.
Uh-huh.
But are most of the riders, are they American, foreign, just a mix, or
Now, most of them are Americans.
Mhm.
We have a few international students. Now we have one guy from Bolivia here in Lindsey. There are a few Australians from New Zealand, but that's it. It's not like soccer, for example, that is known to have a lot of foreigners playing the sport.
Yeah.
They are mostly Americans in cycling.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking. Well,
Mhm.
hey, let's talk about how you got to Lindsey Wilson. How did you get to Lindsey? And you can give me the long answer.
I can give you a long answer. Okay. So I went on a vacation with a few friends. One of them was playing soccer in Oklahoma, and I started to talk to him about how he got to Oklahoma, the process that he did, and after that, I got really motivated to look into that. And I found a few cycling teams. I mean, I literally typed in Google schools in America with cycling teams, and I had a list. Uh, from that list, I started to get into the websites of the different schools. I made a presentation email introducing myself, of course, and talking about my racing experience, results, etc. I started to send emails to every school that had a cycling program. And then from there, I had a few responses. I kept talking with two or three coaches. And then Lindsay gave me the best scholarship offer. And that's how I got here.
Nice. Is the visa process pretty long when you get after you get accepted?
Yes, it was pretty long. You need to do a lot of paperwork, like bank statements, making declarations,
Mm,
like statements also
yeah.
of what you're going to do here. Yeah, it takes a while. Also, you need to make the appointment, and they don't give it to you really quick. Uh, and you get the appointment for the visa after the school gives you the offer, and they have to send you other papers, which is not online. So they need to send you the actual paper.
Yeah.
The shipping of that takes a lot. It goes through other agencies. They had to check my transcripts. And being an international student, of course, it took longer, but it was all worth it. I'm really happy here. I like it. I'm proud of the decision that I made to come to stay here and keep racing.
Yeah, dude, definitely worth it for sure.
Yeah.
When did you start riding, by the way?
I'm 23 now. When I started, I was maybe 6 years old. Yeah, 6 or
Dang.
7. So a long
That's
time riding bikes.
yeah, that's like 16 years almost.
Yeah, I
Jesus
had a,
Christ.
I had a break in the middle when I was 19.
Mm,
I started to feel overwhelmed by the sport, and
mm,
I wasn't really enjoying. No, I'm lying. I stopped when I was 18 to 19 for one
mm.
year. And then, yeah, I had the opportunity to come here, and I wanted to start riding again. So everything came together, and yeah, it was super good.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's so funny because I actually just talked to another guy. He was a wrestler.
Hmm.
He's Hispanic. He just won nationals. I think he's Cuban. He won
Okay.
nationals in AI, and he stopped doing wrestling for like a year because he was feeling overwhelmed. And then he came back and then won an NAI national title. So it's like
Yeah,
it's
that's
kind of
crazy.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how many people like kind of get burnt out or like stressed
Mhm.
out from the sport. But it happens. What made you want to start riding?
I guess that it was just love at first sight. When I was a kid, I always liked bikes, and I was always riding. So I asked my dad to like buy me a road bike, like
Mm,
totally different to what I'm doing now. And then when I was 6 years old, I started to do road uh, close to my house. And then I went to ride with one friend one day, and he told me that close to where we were riding, there was a BMX track. And then the first day I went to check it out. I didn't have the right bike, so I just walked around the track. And I told my dad, "Hey, I want you to take me here tomorrow." And then some people lent us a bike, and I went to the track with that bike, and I just really like it. And yeah, I didn't stop from there for one year, but
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah. Dude, that's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. So love at first sight. That's
Hmm.
beautiful. I didn't have the same experience with wrestling, but
No.
we're all different. I don't know if I'd said
Yes.
it either. Is you're the first person who was not a wrestler, also. The first
Oh,
not
okay.
a wrestler. Out of 14 people I interviewed so far. I was supposed to talk to Emma, but she just kept changing her schedule. And
Okay.
so yeah. So you're the first
That
one.
sucks. Okay,
Nah,
that's cool.
it's whatever.
I feel honored.
Yeah, it's an honor to have you on too. So um how would you compare like riding in college to like high school and younger? How would you compare like the culture, the training, the competition, everything?
Hmm. That's a tough question. I mean, I think that it your point of view changed more personally, uh, because I mean you mentioned high school and then college. We don't have those divisions. For example, in Argentina, I don't have a high school team that I was
Mm,
riding for, so I was racing by my own.
mm,
Talking about that, I was pretty professional since I was a kid because I started with the national championships in Argentina when I
mm,
was 12, I think, and the level is pretty high. So yeah, I had to do a lot of work to catch up. And then while I was growing, I started to get better and better. And when I was 16, I really made a change in the quality of my riding.
mm.
And I got into the junior national team in Argentina. So working with the national team was a different experience, of more professional. It's not just a few kids that ride well.
Yeah.
You need to do more training, like gym, sprints off the
Mm,
track work, everything you do it in a group. You have coaches controlling you. So I was used to being in a professional environment, and then I took that for me also. Like everything that I do training wise, I
mm.
try to do it as professional as I can. Uh, when I came to college, I had that on me, so maybe the style of riding changed because it's a different country. You have different people, and you need to adapt. But at the end, I kept doing the same. I knew what works for me, so I kept doing that. I know what I have to do in the gym. I know what I have to do when I do sprints. I know what track works, uh, suits me well. So yeah, it's just get to know the different riders and how the races go here. But training wise, I kept doing the same. Yeah.
That's good. I totally get that. Kind of same for me when I went from high school to college. I kind of like I had a pretty great club coach in high school, so I
Hmm.
kind of had a good routine before I came to Lindsey Wilson, and I kind of just kept using that routine, and it made me
Yes.
a lot better. Because I mean, the same thing, and I was gonna mention this like, uh, even like though you have like really good habits, and same for me, and even though like we were both on pretty good teams, it's
Hmm.
it is crazy because like when you're on a college team, there's so many different personalities. So
Yes.
not everyone is on the same page as far
Of
as
course.
the professionality, like the level of I'll call it excellence, like the level of excellence.
Yes.
And that can be kind of hard. So when you were younger, it seemed like you were around more like people who were pretty professional. It looked like. So
Yes.
coming into college, do you think you do you find yourself surprised that you probably had met people who are a lot less professional than even younger athletes, or not so much?
I was really surprised coming here to the States, not particularly for this school,
Mm-hmm.
but the United States is like a benchmark in general for any sport. Like this
Mm-hmm.
country is known to be good at sports.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, okay, I'm going to compete in college. I will be in the United States. I thought that it was going to be like another step, way more professional
Mm-hmm.
compared to what I was used to. It wasn't like that. Of
Yeah.
course, I met people that were really focused and they knew what
Mm-hmm.
they wanted and they knew how to get it and they
Mm-hmm.
were working for it. But there are a lot of others that are kind of lost. didn't share the same thoughts that I had and that I have.
Mhm.
So, I mean, after that, it's up to each person to like, where do you want to go?
Mhm.
If you want to stay doing the same that you are doing and keep on track to what you want to achieve. In my case, it was win a national title.
Mhm.
Or if you want to, okay, mess around and see what happens with your
Yeah.
sport, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. There's definitely a lack of like ownership of like for our successes. Are like
Yes.
when I went to Lindsey compared to the people so like I trained in an incredibly high level club in high school,
Hmm.
like so many Division 1 guys in my wrestling club, like guys
Yes.
who wrestled Division 1. I ended up wrestling NAI, but I was in a room filled with Division 1 guys, and like they were professionals. Like they like made sure they focused on eating clean. They were lifting. They were practicing multiple times a day. Um, they were hanging
Yeah.
around the right people. And then when I went to college, it was really different. Like there were very few people in general who I knew um, that were super focused, like super detail oriented. Like
Hmm.
they're like making sure they're going to sleep at the right time, making sure they were actually lifting weights and,
Yes.
on a specific weightlifting program for wrestling and not just being a bodybuilder, or, not eating crappy food or not partying on the weekends. And
Hmm.
uh, it is weird. So I had a pretty big culture shock a little bit. And
Yeah.
actually got made fun of, like even on like my own team for being really
Yeah.
disciplined. You know what I mean? And that was weird for me too, because I was on such a good high school like club team where like
Hmm.
everyone supported each other. Everyone like bought in, like everyone was doing everything right. And then I came to college and it was like
What do I do
basically,
now?
yeah, it's like I would be made fun of by like, I mean, teammates because I'm
Yes.
doing the right things. And I'm like confused. I'm like, what the
Hmm.
fuck? Like, why are you making fun of me? Like, I thought this is what we're supposed to do. Like, this is, don't you guys
Yeah.
want to win too?
Hmm.
Um,
I totally get that. It happened to me too.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
it's part of, yeah,
yeah. It's part of it, but it's okay. It's okay. You can only can control what you can control. Um,
exactly.
so you're a foreigner. So one of the big things that's going to happen as like a foreigner who's also an athlete coming to a different country is there's going to be cultural differences
Hmm.
um, with your teammates.
Yes.
Um, what were some of like the biggest things that you don't have to share everything, but like some of the things that really shocked you as far as like, wow, like they do this totally different than I do, or they think totally different than I do in this area.
Yeah. I think that the biggest joke, I don't know if people here are more talented or what,
Yeah.
but there were some people in my team, and we still have some people in my team that when I see them practicing, they don't do that much or they do the bare minimum. And then you see them racing and they are crazy good riders.
Mhm.
And I'm busting my ass off every day and I'm at the same level that they are.
Yeah.
So that was crazy and something that didn't happen to me in Argentina. We were all working super hard and we were even. But that led me to doubt. I was thinking, okay, maybe I'm doing too much. Maybe I need to rest a little more to get better. So, but I guess that it's just different styles for each person. As you said, different cultures, different backgrounds. I don't know what they did before me.
Yeah.
So that was the thing that shocked me the most. Also, I mean, my sport is pretty physical,
Mhm.
but you have a lot of skills involved too.
Mhm.
So maybe if you're not that fit, but you're a really talented rider and you have a lot of skills, you can get away with good results. So there are the two parts,
Mhm.
that was what shocked me the most. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's the same. Like again, on my team, there were guys who got really good results. One person in particular got really good results and did not work very hard the whole time I was there.
Yeah.
But his background was so good in high school. Like he was basically in the best wrestling room in the country. Um, but because he was already so good when he came to college, he kind of just didn't care. But he still had really good results. He had a
Yeah.
really good college career. But yeah,
And I think that,
you never know how they trained before.
yeah. And talking about that, I think that if you were a really good athlete, you have a oh,
You disappeared.
wait,
Welcome back.
I'm back.
Yeah, okay.
I think that if you were a really good athlete, you have a mental advantage
Mhm.
because you are used to win, kind of.
Yes. Yeah.
So you have that winner mentality, and that can affect you in the good way or in the bad way. If
Mm,
you are feeling really good in practice, if you train a lot, but you don't really want to win or you don't know how that feeling is, you're kind of scared of,
mhm,
and that can take you down. It happened to me for a while too.
mhm,
Uh, I'll give you an example.
mhm,
I never had a really good start in my sport.
mhm.
Whenever I started to improve it, I wasn't comfortable being in front. Like before, I always had a person in front of me.
Mm,
So I was getting kind of surprised when I was starting first, and I was, oh, what do I do now? There is nobody around me. It was a different
mm.
feeling. Yeah, so you
Why
need
do you
to get
think
used
that?
to it.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Do you think you're like you just didn't have like faith in yourself to be in front? Are
No, I
you?
I had faith for sure, but it was something new, something
Mm,
that I wasn't used to, and maybe I wasn't expecting that to happen at
mhm.
that time. So I surprised myself, and that little like a millisecond that you doubt in a race, boom,
Yeah. Yeah.
everyone comes to you, and they can pass you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy how the mind can affect you.
It can. It's definitely the same with wrestling. What in like a sport like yours, it's so fast, right?
Yeah,
Like it like and for people who don't know, how long would one race take, from start to finish for just one race? What would
30
you
seconds.
they right, okay, 30 seconds. And
Yeah,
so it's like if you like hesitate for 1 second,
yeah,
you know,
you're done.
you're done,
Yeah.
like that's crazy. Like it's like I think it's one of the few sports where like your room for error is so
Zero.
small, because
Yeah.
like with wrestling we have 7 minutes,
Hmm.
so we have plenty of
Anyways,
time.
I mean,
Yeah.
you have 7 minutes, but it's still a short sport,
Right. It's
compared to
still,
others.
yeah, like basketball, football.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. 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 Exactly. Like even I guess like in wrestling you can get pinned. So if I get put to my back, the match is
Hmm.
done.
Yes, yes,
But like most high level college guys aren't gonna get pinned really. So you usually have the ability to come back really fast.
yes.
7 minutes is a lot better than 30 seconds. You know what I
Of
mean?
course, of
And
course. Yeah.
so how do you train to prepare for those 30 seconds?
For me, it's key to have people around you to practice with. Kind of do race simulations
Mm-hmm.
to know how you are going to feel being close to another rider or going super fast next to another person. There are a lot of people that train by themselves and it works for them. It's not my case. If I practice really, really, really hard for one race, but all the time by myself, I will feel kind of weird. Like you don't have that racing feeling when in my sport, it's hard to get comfortable riding at your 100% next to another person and even touching the other.
Mm-hmm.
That makes you kind of scared if you're not used to. So for me, the main thing is train a lot in the track with people around you, doing race simulation, and then all the rest of the training is super important too. Sprints are going to make you faster, and then the gym workout is going to make you stronger. That you need to have a good start, and then hold yourself around the track on the bike. Uh, but yeah, for me, the main thing is to be good in the track, spend as much time as you can on your bicycle doing the specific thing. I mean, ride bikes is what we do, so it's what we need to do the most. You are not a power lifter, so I guess that you spend more time wrestling than
Yep.
lifting weights.
Yep.
That's the same for every sport. You need to focus on what you're doing.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I call it like it's like all of the exercise I did when I wrestled, I lifted 3 times a week and did cardio twice a week.
mhm.
Like, but I wrestled maybe 7 or 8 times a week,
Yes,
because like the other training is supplemental. It's supposed to
of
like
course, of course.
make your body physically more prepared for your sport, but you're not gonna get ready for your sport without doing the specific thing. Um, you talked about like riding really fast next to other people and like bumping elbows and stuff. What is like
Yeah.
Have you ever had a big injury or anything?
I mean, yeah, I had a few injuries. I don't consider them big because it never took me more than a month to get back.
Mm.
So never bad injuries. Yes, I had a few that were really painful, but
Yeah.
nothing major.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Any concussions or anything like that?
I had a few minor concussions. Nothing big
Yeah.
likely. Knock on
Yeah.
wood. I don't want that to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Knock on
But
wood.
yeah,
That's
it is
crazy.
part of the sport.
Yeah.
Crashes are always there, and yeah, you can get bad hits.
Mhm. So in wrestling, I always had like a guy I considered like a rival. Like I always had like, you know, like one guy would be like, I'm training to beat this guy. I mean, not specifically training to beat him, but I'm training really hard because I know I'm gonna have a really tough match with this
Yes.
guy. Do you feel like you have anyone like that where you're like, you know, maybe they're not the best person in the country, but they're just like someone that pushes you who's not your teammate, you know?
Yes. I mean, for me, it wasn't like that because in one race, you're racing against seven other people. I mean,
Yeah.
in total, they are eight with you.
Hmm.
So I wasn't really focusing on one person particularly.
Hmm.
But for me, the goal it was always try to do my best in the race, and if I knew that I can win the race.
Hmm.
So I would always remind myself with that, like, hey, you need to keep going. You can win this race. You can do it. Let's go.
Hmm.
You know, uh, if I know that the level in the race is going to be way different for me and maybe two or three other riders, yes, I would think, how can I beat them and focus on them. But when the races are more even, you need to be ready for whatever. Like, anything
Hmm.
can change so fast. And also, your races in the qualification runs are random. Like, you don't know against who you're going to race. So they are changing constantly. You need to be ready for everything.
Okay. What do you think separates you, who got the bronze medal individually, the BMX, right,
Hmm.
versus the guy who won the national championship? What was the difference?
I think that it was time on the BMX bike. Uh, yeah, that
Really?
was that
Yeah.
was it mainly. So I didn't have a really long time. I don't want this to sound as excuses,
Of
but
course. Of course.
it is what happened. I mean, I know that I got the bronze and the other guy beat me, and there is nothing that I can change.
Hmm.
But I know that I could be better prepared if I have more time on the BMX bike. Even in those 2 months that I was riding BMX, rain is a factor for us with practice. If it rains, we don't go to the track. And the weather in Colombia, where I am right now, is not the best in this time of the year. So we had a lot of rain, and I was practicing more indoors and working on my fitness. And as I mentioned before, what I like to do the most is ride the track and with people around me. And I didn't have the chance to do that much
Hmm.
because of stuff that I couldn't control, like the weather. So yeah, that's the main difference for me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, it does suck. I think like it. That's another crazy thing that like I didn't even think about because like with wrestling, everything you need is inside. You
Yeah.
know, like if you want to run, you can go on a treadmill. You can run in the wrestling room. You can wrestle in the wrestling room. Like there's no excuse not to be wrestling. But I
Mhm.
guess like with a sport like yours, I mean that is a huge piece of adversity, and I guess it's a big advantage for kids who are like in Florida or California or
Exactly.
Texas. You know, like
Yes.
they can train. I mean, they're just living the perfect life for their
Mhm.
sport, and
Yeah.
I'm sure that the sport is probably pretty big in states like California, at least.
I mean, you mentioned California and Florida, and they have the best riders in the country, and that's
Yeah,
why, because they can ride all year long. And the ones that are really good and want to be better, they move to California or Florida to be training 24/7.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, Throughout like this whole time that you've been at Lindsay, what has been the biggest piece of like adversity? Like, what's been the hardest thing that's happened that you've had to overcome since you've been at Lindsay?
I think that it was COVID. Yes,
Really?
yes. I didn't see it coming. It was something that I couldn't control. And for the first season that it got canceled for BMX,
Mhm.
I was training super hard. All the team was looking really good. We all knew that we could win and we were going to have really good individual performances.
Mhm.
And then, boom, COVID came, we didn't race, and it was like, okay, what do we do now? We have nothing left, you
Yeah.
know? And yeah, it was kind of reorganize ourselves, set new goals, see how we were going to do from there. Uh, and it was a lot of like mental fight, saying I practiced for nothing, my effort wasn't worth it, we didn't get our chance, But yeah, I think that like knowing that at some point we were going to have our chance, at least me. There were some guys that they were seniors and they didn't get to race, and that sucked. But yeah, I knew that that was something that I couldn't control, so I kept training. Of course, when that happened, I took a little break because I was overwhelmed again. I didn't know
Yeah, of
what to do,
course.
so that helped me a lot. Kind of see the things from another perspective,
Mhm.
um, and acknowledge that I was going to have another opportunity, and
Mhm.
it wasn't my fault. I didn't do anything wrong. Like I was doing what I was supposed to,
Mhm.
and shit happened. I
Yeah,
couldn't
bro,
do anything about it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. That's how I felt. I mean, I was right there with you, man. I was like,
hmm Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got
We stayed
lucky.
together by ourselves.
Yeah, yeah,
I,
literally. Yeah, I was right there with you. Like, cause like no one knew. Like every day, I was like, maybe there's not going to be a wrestling season. Maybe there's
mhm,
just not going to be a wrestling season.
Yeah.
Even last year, like my last season at Lindsey, there were so many times where I was like, maybe I'm going to catch COVID the day
Yeah.
before nationals. Maybe I'm going to catch COVID the week of conference. You
hmm
know, yeah, like honestly, I mean, it's probably a question I should ask more people when they come on. And it's like, how did COVID affect your?
Affect you. Yeah.
Because honestly, and it was huge. Like it was huge
It
for
was.
all of us.
hmm
Because it can take away the focus. It could have taken away, and I'm sure it took away focus from so many people.
Yeah.
That
Definitely.
one year, even for me, because I was just like, man. But I was
Yeah.
lucky, man. Like I said, like I tell people all the time, like I was so lucky to spend the summer, like being around you, Stefan,
hmm
Lucia.
Yes,
Um,
I remember that.
like I had like good people who had good mindsets around me, like
Yes.
really positive mindsets. And I had Brett also. So it's
hmm
like, you four plus, multiple other people, but especially like you four were like, it was good because I consistently was in an environment where people were still training, people were still
Yeah.
trying to be better. But with COVID, it's super, super easy to say, fuck it. Like I'm going to go
hmm
home. I'm going to chill. Um,
Yes. No, at least I mean I think that it benefit you too because you won a national title after.
yeah.
But during that time that we were kind of locked down on campus and the only thing that we were doing was training,
Yeah.
I felt my best after it. I didn't
Yeah.
get to race for one other season, but I was feeling really well. It
Mhm.
was like a huge preseason that I had without
Mhm.
races that I could focus on things that I was doing wrong and other things that I had to change. So it was a really big adversity, but at the same time, I'm grateful that that happened
Mhm.
because it made me realize a lot of things that I was doing wrong and a lot of things that I could change to do better.
What? Because I've always wondered this because I think me and you are a lot alike, to be honest. I think that's why
hmm
we became good friends.
Yes.
What makes you so motivated? Like when you're by yourself, because like I would see you, I mean, just like I said, just like me, like I would see you go to the gym all the time by yourself, not with a teammate, just like me. It'd be like I guarantee I would see you in the gym the same day I'm going to the gym. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
What was that? Like what why'd you do that?
I don't think that is motivation.
Yeah, I agree.
But
I agree with you.
it's not motivation. It's something that I like. It's something that I've been doing all my life. Like
Mhm.
it is on me. Uh, so yeah, it's
It,
part of my day. I do it because I like it, and I wouldn't be doing my sport and training for my sport as I'm doing uh, if I wouldn't enjoy it. It's
mhm.
it's part of my day. It's something that I enjoy.
Yeah.
It makes me good. I'm doing it for me, not because others or yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I literally same. It like wrestling was something that I love and it's something I still love, and jujitsu is something that I love. Like
Hmm.
it's like if I'm other than, my rest day, if I'm not doing it every single day, I feel like there's a piece of me that's missing, you
Yes,
know?
yes,
Eh, And
definitely.
that comes with like like discipline too. Is
Hmm.
you don't have to be motivated to go to the gym, you know?
Of course.
Champions are disciplined and they go because they know it makes them better.
Hmm.
And I mean it's hard. It's really hard. Another like big thing that like I could tell like discipline is like again it's like a really cool thing that you are of like from Argentina because one of the things that you're really disciplined about is speaking English a lot. You
Yeah.
know, like
I
at
mean,
least
I have a second option. I had to be here, but
yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah, exactly. But people don't know how hard that is. Like if you're like I study Japanese and it's like I couldn't
yes.
imagine right now going to Japan and just speaking Japanese still
Hmm.
after all these years because for one it takes a lot of bravery.
Yes,
I think that's the biggest thing. It takes a lot of bravery. You can learn the grammar, the vocabulary, the accent, but it's like to
hmm,
actually go out there and potentially embarrass yourself.
yes.
It takes a lot of bravery. And I
Hmm.
remember you a couple times saying, like at the table, speak English. Like, let's speak English. And I'd be like,
Yeah.
dude, that's huge. Like, it is super huge. And that's it's unique because it's discipline. I mean, I live in Louisville now, and there's so many places that you go that, like, for example, Louisville has tons of Cubans,
Hmm.
and Mexicans. So if you go to like, I went to a Mexican restaurant the other day, and it's like most people barely speak English, which is totally
Yes.
fine, like no
Hmm.
judgment at all. But it's like
Yes.
they've probably been here 10 years, you know. But
Yeah, because the people that they are surrounded with, or
yeah,
because they didn't want to, they didn't learn
yeah.
anything.
Yeah, and it's like I'm not blaming them and I'm not hating, but it's like it's just impressive to think that like you were able to like flip a switch and say,
Yeah,
"Hey, I'm gonna learn English. Like I'm
of
gonna
course.
use English."
It
And
is a personal choice.
it
If
is
you
a
want, you can
yeah.
do it. If you don't want to do it, you're not going to.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, dude, you're on a English speaking podcast. Did you think you were gonna do that
It's great.
like
No,
when you
never,
first
never
started, right? Like have a whole conversation, a deep
in English.
conversation too in English. And people who are listening might be like, what are they talking about? Like why like this is important because the ability to be disciplined in multiple areas is a lifestyle. Like you don't have to just be disciplined in your sport. You should be disciplined
Yes,
in all your little goals, whether that's,
of
fitness,
course.
your language learning, your reading, just being a good person. It takes lots
Hmm.
of discipline, and I just think that's super cool. And I was like, I honestly need to talk to more, foreign exchange students, but uh, or foreign exchange athletes rather,
Yes,
not students, because I think people underestimate the challenges that come with being someone who's from a different country who's coming to play sports
hmm,
in the U.S. or vice versa.
yeah.
Um,
And to be honest, I didn't feel it like that. Now seeing it from the outside and all the things that I've done, it's something surprising even for me. But
yeah,
while I was doing them, I didn't feel really challenged, maybe uncomfortable, but
mhm,
because of what I was saying, it was my decision and it was something that that I wanted to do.
mhm.
It didn't feel hard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. That's like if I said like, I was working out 6 days a week and wrestling like 8 times, you know,
Hmm.
it sounds crazy to wrestle 8 times in like a 5 day period.
Yes.
Especially because of how hard it is. But it's like I loved it so much that, if I could have done it 10 times, I would, without hurting myself.
Yes.
It's but there's other people who are like, I don't even want to practice 3 days a week, let alone,
Hmm.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Um, and I think that's like the difference between, being a champion, and not just having a gold medal, but being like a champion in life versus,
Yes.
not being
One
one.
more person. Yeah.
Yeah, fucking normal dude off the middle of the street. Um,
Yeah.
who was your biggest inspiration?
I don't think that it was just one person,
Okay, that's
but
fine.
in general, like my family, for example, I know that they did a huge effort for me to come to the United States. They helped me through all my athlete career. So I don't know. I felt like I had to pay them back for what they
Mm-hmm.
did for me.
Mm,
So that was a huge inspiration. Like I didn't want to let them down
mm.
because I don't know if they were expecting big things from me, but I wanted to give them back the favor.
Yeah.
If they did an effort for me, I'm going to do an effort for
Mm,
you. Uh, yeah, thinking about them and all the sacrifices that they did for me really helped me. Uh, I mean, if my, I don't know, there are so many examples. Mostly the time that my parents spent taking me to races, taking me to practice, and then if I don't keep it going, if I don't do my best every day, I feel like shit, because they
mm,
were doing their best for me. I need to do my best for you.
mm-hmm.
I disappear again. I'm back.
It's okay. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's like the sound matters. I'm hearing all the sound every time. But yeah,
Yeah.
dude. No, I love that. That's honestly an amazing answer. Last thing, we're gonna wrap it up here. Just because this was a lot, this was good. Like this, you said a lot of really good stuff. I mean,
Yeah. Thank you.
it's gonna be hard to pick just one clip to put in to
Yeah.
Instagram, and because it's
Hmm.
like, dude, this is like it's so good, it's perfect. This is why I wanted to speak to you. It's
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you.
It's awesome catching up with you. Um,
Yes, it is.
so what piece of advice would you give a child who wants to start riding?
I would say have fun. Have fun all the time. Ride because you want and not because you feel forced, and enjoy it. That's why I stopped for a year because I wasn't enjoying riding, and I didn't think that it was worth it to do something that you don't like, or not
Mm-hmm.
that you don't like, but you are not enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
I do this because it makes me feel good, and if you are going to do it, make it because it's going to make you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I don't think that you need to make yourself suffer just because other one is expecting you to ride. I think that that's the best that I can say. Do everything that you want to do for yourself and not for others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Well, heck yeah, Mateo. I really
Yes,
appreciate it, dude. 2022 BMX team champions, bronze medal individually. You're a killer. You're an
thank you, thank
inspiration.
you.
I'm really happy to have you as a friend, dude. I'm glad we could talk again. It's
Yeah,
been too
same.
long. Hopefully, I can make a trip to LWC again.
Yeah, come visit.
Yeah, being an adult
We're
is
waiting for you.
yeah, yeah. Being an adult, it makes me busy, but believe me, every day I miss my experience there. But I love my life here too. But hopefully I'll be up there soon. Will you be leaving during the summer, I'm guessing?
Yes, I will leave maybe the first or second week of May, so I still have one more month here.
Okay, cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, hey, dude, thanks for talking. It was seriously cool
Thank you for
catching
having
up.
me. Yeah, it was
Uh,
really cool.